Laurie Oswald, you are one of my favorite people in the industry, by the way. Thank you for spending some time with me on this little interview.
Thank you, Dean. It's great to be here. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're going to jump into the End User Summit and talk about that. And it seems like yesterday, but it's been a few months since that's happened. But I want to get your insights on that. And then also just, you guys have been a supporter of iMasons from literally the beginning. You're one of the first foundation partners that came in. You saw the vision and have been there and backing us. And it's just been pretty incredible. And I know you stepped into the advisory council role just a few years ago. So I'd like to get a little insight on that. And then we also have this new innovation and technology pillar that we've launched right at our Global Member Summit.
Yep.
And I'd like to just talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Great.
Yes.
So why don't we start with this for the audience that's watching? Tell us who you are and how you got in this industry.
Well, thank you. So I am the Senior Vice President of Global Sales, focused on strategic accounts for Vertiv. So I look after our strategy for all of our largest customers globally. I fell into this industry like many of us, right? I don't think when I was in college, I thought that I would be in digital infrastructure, but I had the opportunity to go to work for an entrepreneur in the electrical industry. And I started there and then went into low voltage data communications and got into essentially the data center industry. So been doing this for over 20 years and it's been an incredible experience. And I get to work with great people like you.
Awesome. And the feeling is mutual. I remember we were out in Dallas doing a food for thought dinner.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a blast. So, and you coming in, and then we had Kulindan Singh.
Yes.
Which was our first master's degree scholarship awardee. And now I believe he's graduated and he's in our industry now. Like he's landed the job.
And I'll tell you, it was that meeting that really solidified my personal commitment and, frankly, influenced Vertiv's commitment to the education fund because he was so impressive and so excited to have the opportunity to learn and study in this industry. And there's no mystery around the fact that our industry really has this issue of an aging workforce. And so to bring in new talent, bright talent, energetic people through the scholarship fund is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And we've raised a lot of money together. So
yes.
I do want to say a few things. I have to give a shout out. First off to Vertiv, because I believe you are one of the largest, if not the largest donor to the scholarship fund from our partners.
Yeah.
And it's just really neat. And again, I got to give a shout out to Rob Johnson as well. Whether it was the End User Summit or just his personal donations and just the company support of what's going on, it's really appreciated. So from the industry and all the folks that are receiving it, I just want to say thank you for what they're giving back. You guys are really, really making a difference.
Well, I appreciate that. And I too value what Vertiv is doing and certainly what Rob is doing, but I really value what you're doing. Raising awareness and really bringing the community together. And when I look at the donation page, there's a lot of corporate donations, but there's a lot of personal donations too. And whether it's, $25 or $25,000, every little bit helps. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we have a lot of big hearts in this industry. And I literally think we're just getting started.
Yeah.
So just so everybody's aware, to date, we raised over $550,000 and you saw at our awards ceremony, right? We had just more and more people throwing in money. It was really cool.
Yeah.
We have $1 million challenge and that we're going to hit. I'm very confident in it because we keep getting more traction. But one of our biggest problems is we don't have enough applicants. We have money in the bank. We don't have enough people asking for a scholarship. So we're going to keep promoting that to get more people in it. And that aging workforce you said, I represented right here, we got to get that pipeline filled. So we're very, very focused on that.
And I think we can help. So if there's things that we can do to educate our, others in our industry and in our company about the education fund, how to apply for the scholarship, we're happy to help. So let me and the community know.
Yeah, and you're on the AC, so we
Yeah.
definitely are going to continue working on all these programs. So
Great.
let's step into the first topic. So
Okay.
last October we had the second annual End User Summit, and this is by far I think our most popular event. It's meant for end user companies, leaders to come together. And we did something a little different this time. Last year it was only end users, and we orchestrated and took the content and rolled that back out. So we had data center, hardware, network, infrastructure management, and then our partner teams, right? And those 5 came together in their breakouts, and then they came back and read out, and then we took that content, and we've been sharing that, again, the previous one for over a year. There's just a ton of good stuff. This year, we shifted a little bit, and we had our partners choose and support a track. And so you guys took the data center track, and you were the overall sponsor for and the supporter of, right, the of the event itself, and that was really neat. But what I'm interested in hearing is, this is the first time you were in those sessions, and one of the benefits of being the chairman and the founder is I get to go to all the sessions now, which is just amazing. We did them all in parallel the first time, but now that we've got Zoom, each independent one over multiple days. So what I wanted to get is your take on your insights from that conversation with those leaders, because literally the people in that room build and operate some of the biggest data center portfolios in the world.
Yes.
Very interesting conversation. So give me your insights.
I participated in the session last year when, I participated in the partner session as part of the advisory council and was there for the readouts. And yes, that was valuable. But being a part of the End User Summit directly this year as a main sponsor of the event was an incredible experience. Your point about being in the same room with some of the largest operators and builders of data centers in the world was really insightful. So number one, you guys did a great job of facilitating the meeting, even though we had to do it via Zoom, and even though we had to do it remotely. The facilitators did a really excellent job of keeping all participants engaged and encouraging participation from everybody. So I got to participate as essentially a fly on the wall and listen into some of those conversations in the data center track. And then I participated directly as part of the partner track. So that was fun. I got to do a little bit of both. We really had some key themes, I guess, that went across both sessions. And if you'd like, I can share a couple of what I think I heard.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really impossible not to think about the impact or talk about the impact of COVID in both sessions. And there was a general sort of feeling that the way that we live and work and play has forever changed. So even when we go back to life as we know it, the digital and online collaboration tools that we've learned to adopt and use will probably continue to proliferate. We talked a lot about some of the challenges, personally and professionally. Many of us, especially those with young kids or aging parents, have had real hardship. So we talked about that. We also talked, though, about some of the positives. And this was really what resonated with me. The fact that we get to know our customers and our coworkers in a pretty unique way, almost visiting them in their homes, right? And we talked a little bit about how this has personalized our engagement and our relationships in a way that we never would have experienced. I'm a remote employee. I live in the Dallas, Texas area. Vertiv is headquartered in Ohio. So we talked a lot about how remote engagement has kind of leveled the playing field for executives as well as more junior associates who work remotely, that their level of participation is, no longer inhibited by the fact that they're not in the room. We talked about the fact that we as leaders have an opportunity to, we go back to education, right? And, learnings, but we have the ability to bring junior associates into meetings because in ways that we couldn't have done face to face. So give them that learning opportunity. So that was I think really a good point. So we spent a lot of time on COVID and that type of interaction, as well as some of the positives. One of the positives before I move on is really around, and this is a pillar of the iMasons, is diversity inclusion. that because, a lot of companies have moved to work from home, we have the opportunity to hire from any country in the world, any region, any background, any geography, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then the next key theme was really around technology. So the rate and pace of digital transformation has not slowed down, which is good for those of us in this industry. We talked a little bit about the race to the edge and distributed computing. And we spent some time around sustainability, and we touched on smart power and, peak management, grid services, et cetera. And then the third topic that we talked about, primarily in the data center track, was the challenge around deployment. So we talked, again, with the COVID impact, there's no question that there's been an impact on supply chain in virtually every industry, but certainly in the data center industry. And then you couple that with site challenges, with COVID related, impacts and people not being able to go to work. And then
25% resources on site, social distancing, all the challenges around that. Yeah, for sure.
That's exactly right, Dean. And, and then, couple that with, the speed of deployment. So this, the work hasn't slowed down,
right?
Workforce is inhibited. How do we ensure, we as vendors and manufacturers ensure continued high quality products, right? That get delivered on site. But more importantly, when they are on site, how do we ensure that they're deployed in a safe way, right? Given time constraints and workforce constraints. So that was a really big topic of the data center.
Yeah, and I think one thing that jumped out for me there is that you've got a catch-22. The pandemic hits, limitations in what we can actually do, whether it's supply chain or delivery. Yet the demand increased because of the pandemic. So suddenly you got this curve going up with all this demand, and then you got windows that still have to be met.
Right.
So, and I remember these conversations where it was, the customers are still saying, I have to have that schedule. I know you got 25% workforce and all the other delays, et cetera, but I still have to make that schedule. And again, I think the wherewithal for people to figure it out. That was a really big theme in there, is that they still delivered. Whether it's the partners or the end users themselves or other, like all the people in that supply chain and making that possible, they adapted.
Yes. I think that the term that we used and kept referring to was find a way.
Yeah.
That we are going, we believe we can find a way, we'll continue to find a way. And the reality is, we have, it doesn't mean that it hasn't been without impact on our work-life balance, right? So there's clearly I was going to say clearly blurred lines. So a little bit of a dichotomy, but there's certainly, where does work end and where does home life begin? With so many people working from home. And so it's kind of like the cyclical, situation that we're all involved in, that you just described.
Yeah, and I everybody related to this where, you used to have a commute, and then you could say, I can stop and drive home, and I have a reason to stop. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now the commute is walking 20 feet to your kitchen, and so that blurred the lines, as you said, between when work stops and when work continues. And like you said, the personal nature of that, what I love is, the dogs are coming up, kids are walking in the room, people are, wearing hats in meetings and not worried so much. It's just a more real human type thing that the pandemic has forced us to now do, which I think is great. I don't, like you said, the normal, it's going to be a hybrid like this, and people are going to be more cautious, or I guess casual, maybe.
And isn't it funny how you just said that, working in this remote environment is human, right? And
isn't that weird?
Right. But it is absolutely true. And, I will tell you that there was some discussion in the session about people are anxious to get back to the office, get back face to face, although it might look a little bit different. Yeah. It might be 3 days a week. It may be 1 day a week. It may be, it may be completely changed, but I think there is a feeling like people are starting to hunger for a little bit of, engagement. So face to face.
Yeah. You and I traveled every week, and now all of a sudden it was a year of, And the other one, so I got the COVID-19, so I got the 19 pounds on. So it's like the college 15, I got the COVID-19. So now it's like I'm literally making time to go be active and do something. And I think that's another interesting side of it, is just that the well-being of the people and the health, and whether it's our employees or those things, it definitely is more top of mind than ever. And then, like you said, the behaviors, like, I don't think we're going to go back to the way it was before. So for my own company, I shut down our office in California. Everybody's remote.
Yes.
I don't need to pay rent for a year when I'm not using the building.
Right.
But guess what? We're making it all work. It's actually really, really interesting, really good. It's this remote work concept that everyone said wouldn't work. It was thrust upon everyone. And guess what? It has to work. Find a way.
Find a way. And we are, yes, I traveled every week. I was going to hit executive platinum by the end of February, when COVID hit. And what I've learned is that a lot of that travel is necessary. A lot of it isn't, right? And so I think that when we do go back to business as usual, it won't look at all like what we would have described as usual a year ago.
So there's one other topic that came up in there that I saw start to cross on different tracks, and that was really about efficiency and utilization. And so the capacity that's being built, and I remember, because in the hardware track, this happened as well. It's like that there are people that are stranded, or I guess not stranded, but people that are in a spot where they've got capacity, but they can't use it for a variety of reasons. Right, their compute platform has certain policies, to their buffers that are put in, to all those things. But all that went back to, we have a lot of capacity, but a lot of it's not being used, and we're building more of it, and propagating that inefficiency. And so that was a really, really important topic across multiple tracks again.
Yeah, it was a big topic in the data center track. The fact that there still is a need to drive up utilization, and that there is a lot of capacity that remains unused or stranded. And so a lot of the focus of the discussion was really around that effort. Yeah.
So let's go to the next topic. Here we have this great end user summit, but we've been doing this stuff together for years, and we have 4 strategic pillars that we lined up originally, because we're uniting the builders of the digital age. We're doing this by enabling our members to connect, grow, and give back. But the things that we focus on here are, first off, education. We have a pipeline problem, programs that aren't actually aligned. So helping to influence that from an education standpoint. Diversity and inclusion. We have, as you know, a diversity problem in our industry. We have less than 10% females in our industry, and even less than that in other underrepresented groups. So that's another focus. And then sustainability as well.
Yes.
And then overall is awareness. So tell me, from your company standpoint, those pillars, industry awareness and education and diversity, inclusion, and sustainability, what are you guys doing around those categories?
Around education, you mentioned already that Vertiv is contributing significantly to the iMasons Education Fund, but we're also participating in other, recruitment activities through college campuses, et cetera. So we're really proud of the fact that we've got individuals participating on every level within, the iMasons. And then I think one of the things that I got to do was to sit in on some of the presentations that the scholarship recipients gave. With Jeff, and that was pretty cool, because I really got to see because I almost feel like it's an investment that we're all making, right? And so what it was the results of some of that investment, it was pretty insightful and really rewarding. But we're really pleased to participate in that program, and we appreciate being a part of that. When it comes to diversity, this is something that I'm personally passionate about. I've been a speaker in our industry and many events around women in technology. One of the coolest things I got to do about 18 months ago is Vertiv started really our first ERG, and it's a women's network called WAVE. So Women at Vertiv Excel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. So me and about 5 other women were founding members, but the coolest part, Dean, is my daughter, who is an engineering student, so a Women in STEM, which I'm super proud of. She goes to Tulane University. She was doing her Girl Scout Gold project at the time. So she actually worked with Vertiv to create WAVE as part of her Girl Scout Gold Award. So I'm incredibly proud of that.
Wow.
Not just for, so very excited for Vertiv, but super excited for my daughter to be able to help, a company like Vertiv create that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's really early in the pipeline,
Yes.
The insights and the other stuff. So that, it's so important. Really cool.
Yeah. It was really neat. And now I think it sort of solidified her desire to be a woman in technology. She sees a tremendous amount of support as a result. She sees terrific opportunity ahead. And so I think that's pretty cool. We are now looking at Vertiv, in terms of what other ERGs we can create to improve diversity in other underrepresented groups, which is pretty cool as well.
Yep.
So
and
then,
also, your daughter also gets to see a little bit about what her mom does. So
yeah, that
I
was
appreciate that.
Cool. She got to come. This was before COVID, so she and I got to fly to Columbus, and she actually had to kick off the presentation in front of a pretty large group.
Oh, wow.
And present, and it was a proud mommy moment, I'm sure. But, that was a pretty great opportunity for me.
Awesome.
So, and then as it relates to sustainability, so top of mind for Vertiv, obviously, in what we do as a business, but certainly my role at Vertiv, I mentioned in the beginning that I look after and support some of the largest data center companies on the planet. So there isn't a single one of them that doesn't have sustainability goals, right? And many have been vocal around what their goals are. And so Vertiv too is committed to sustainability, not only in terms of helping our customers reach their goals, but our own internal goals as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And then awareness, I think that we could probably, I look at myself, I could probably do a better job at times, but we try to be, I guess, as vocal in social media as we can,
Sure.
Really educate, look, at the end of the day, what we do is pretty cool. I tell my kids all the time that their games on their cell phones, they don't work without, my industry and without the efforts of my colleagues. And so that's pretty cool. And I think the more that we can help younger adults understand data centers and, digital infrastructure, it's incumbent upon all of us to increase awareness, not just at industry events, but every day, socially, and throughout our careers.
And this pandemic has certainly made that conversation easier.
Yes.
Like, what do you do? I make all the stuff that you use every day work.
Yeah. That Zoom call that we're on, it doesn't work without what we do. So
it's pretty. That's really, really cool.
Yes.
So I want to go into the third topic here. This is about our new pillar that we launched at the Global Member Summit just in late last year. And this is really around technology and innovation. And, the strategy for iMasons is to aggregate and amplify the great work by our partners and members, because there is a lot of people doing very cool stuff. And what we have to do is make sure that stuff gets out to people so they can see it in all the different categories we're talking about. So I'd love to give you an opportunity here. Tell me about some of the innovation, and just new things that you guys are looking at, that could really change what's going on in the industry.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And so, you mentioned earlier around the idea that there is stranded capacity and underutilization. And so we're helping customers understand how they can better utilize their existing infrastructure, make it work more intelligently and more efficiently for them. We're also working to develop new technologies that meet the changing architectures that our customers are deploying. We're looking at ways to make our equipment more intelligent, right? And so when you think about sort of where technology is going, I firmly believe that we're moving into this space where remote monitoring and even remote management of data centers is going to become critical. So you think about some of the trends, we see growth at the edge. In fact, in the data center session, one of the guys referred to it as the wild, wild west at the edge, right? But you're going to see more proliferation of edge locations, which means that there's going to be more data centers that are in places where people don't live, right? And so how do we build in intelligence and even predictive maintenance? So instead of preventative maintenance, but predictive maintenance. And so Vertiv is working in all of these areas to make the installed equipment more efficient, to ensure that we have next generation technologies that help our customers achieve their goals, and then to make them smarter.
Yeah. And I can't emphasize enough about the edge element, that this is our next summit. We're going to be talking about the edge materialized.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
that'll be a great discussion.
Yep. So we've got Jeffrey DeCoux from the Autonomy Institute, and he's going to be talking about where this stuff is going, but also the real applications that are going to be leveraging it in the shorter term.
Yes.
Not just the long term of all the things that people talk about. We're going to get there, but there are practical things that are rolling out. So that last 1,000 feet and all the things with smart cities and all the IoT that's been talked about, it's now coming to fruition. Yes. And so your point about this ability to have what I'm phrasing here really is an autonomous digital infrastructure deployment. And that is encompassing all those elements. It really does need to be able to operate itself. Physically, you have to get people there, but just like we've seen with a lot of the larger hyperscalers, et cetera, they've figured out how to do this once a week. They go replace things.
Right.
But it's very, very streamlined because the system is taking care of the majority of those things. So this autonomous digital infrastructure, basically an autonomous data center, is going to be what the future is.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see robotics deployed more prevalently in the data center, right? And certainly more remote management, without question. And this will all use artificial intelligence, as part of the analytics. And I think we're going to see that in the next 12 or so months and then beyond. So
yeah. And I think that's what people should take away from this is not the 3 to 5 years from now. Right. There's literally stuff happening this year and a lot of stuff that's built up for that to really become a reality.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, Laurie, first off, or lastly, I want to say thank you very much again for your support of the community and what you guys are doing. It's not just the monetary side; it's literally the leadership and stepping in and helping us really tackle a lot of these pillars. So I appreciate it very much. I know that our leadership team and the community does as well. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you at the next sessions.
Really appreciate it, Dean. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.